Welcome back everybody to Tony's Top Tips Workshop. This is the second part to the fourth axis video I'm doing, and this is just to show the actual offline controller, the offline controller working, what it can do and the rough settings of it. I'm not use the fourth axis as regards completing a job or attempting to do that yet. That's for a later video, but I would just like to show on this the workings of it, and also the fact that I have now lifted the Z gantry up to the bottom holes, so it gives another 50mm, so you can actually home it now. When I put the video on last night of the fourth axis, the first one, the unboxing, had a kind remark from one of the viewers that the Z axis should be lifted up to the bottom hole so it gives you that clearance. I said yes, I did answer him, and in fair comment, and I appreciate all comments, I really do, and I answer them all. Is the fact that there's nothing to state that I knew to do it. I found the fault straight away, but there's nothing to say that that needs lifting up, of which there should be. You know, not everybody's that familiar with CNC machines. Some people just would automatically think, send it to home and you're going to end up with problems. I don't know what it's like. I don't know whether even you can use this offline control on any other CNC machine that Sainsmart do. I don't know. It states it's only for the 4040 Pro, but I don't know on that one. Maybe somebody out there can tell me something different, but I can't find anything in my instructions to say before you operate up to home, lift the Z axis up. Mine's as it came down at that position. There's only like 4 holes on each side, so you just move them up to the next 2, and that gives you your extra 50mm, and it clears. Well, jobs are good. I show that in the video. As I say, in the instruction manual, it doesn't state anything about making sure that the Z-axis gantry or frame is actually up on its highest mounting holes. What I have on the, and I'll show you, I'll just take it across the computer now and I'll show you what it does show you is some photographs, and it shows you the actual gantry Z-axis mounting frame for the motor, the spindle, actually in the highest holes. There's no mention about it having to do it, so I spotted it straight away just as I put it together. But I'll just take you across now. There you go. That's on the instructions that the Sainsmart sent me, which is virtually identical to the booklet that you get with the machine. And as you can see, I'll just point out here. As you can see there, it is on its highest, and it will clear that. Same on the next photo, you can see that there it's on its highest. So, but there's no mention, and this is what I say, there should be on there on the top of that A axis, because you might have been using it down, because I checked my motor last night, and the fact that and I've got the bigger spindle in, if I put it down at its maximum, at its lowest, so it actually trips the safety switches, the limit switches, I am still 20mm short of the board, the baseboard. So yeah, it wants a sticker on there stating on the top, please make sure that the Z-axis motor mount is actually on its highest mounting point. and that's it. They clear themselves. But there's nothing in those instructions. I've read them and read them, so it's a point to be aware of. And you know, it wouldn't take much for a sticker to be made to put on top of the A-axis chuck mount, the body of it, and just to say, please make sure that the Z-axis spindle frame, the mount is actually on its highest mounting points. Otherwise the aluminium gantry will hit the A-axis, well, whatever they want to put, but a safety note. And then people that are new to this hobby don't immediately have a crash and put them off, which I consider to be a very, very fantastic hobby. So, and the last thing you want is somebody being put off by that. So what we'll do now is I'll take you down into the workshop and I'll show you the offline controller, the basic settings, and then you have an idea of what it's for. Right, here we have the control panel, the offline controller. And I'll just go through one or two settings on it, and one or two things I've discovered. I haven't used the 4th axis yet, but I've been moving the machine up and down and finding out. Right, so first thing, when you switch it on the machine, it'll come up prepare, and then you can turn the dial clockwise, just like a 3D printer. And if you click in settings there, first one is your probe speed. That's the speed of the probe. That's this your touch off probe moving down the Z-axis, moving down to touch off. So what you do there is your next one, scroll down, because that's set at 100. I've left it at default settings. That is your tool height. So what it means is the actual probe, the thickness of the probe. That is the thickness of it that way, and it is 12mm. I've marked it so for everybody that's got it, it's 12mm. So that's set at 12, but it comes set at 12. You can alter it. You just click on the button like that, and then you'd scroll up and down and you can alter it, but it is 12, so set it at that. Now your Z rise height is, what you've got to remember is with your Z rise, if you set that at 20 as it's set now, and your tool height's 12, when it touches off it will move away from your tool height the difference between 12 and 20, which is 8mm. So it'll move away from the touch off probe 8mm. So that's what that setting is. And your mode setting there is you see the 3 axis or 4 axis. Mine's set to 4 axis, so you'd leave it at that. Language, you'd leave it at that, English. Go back down to return. That will bring you back to prepare. Now when you click on prepare, you get all the other settings. So the jog speed, which you can change, it's now on centimetre. Every time I press the button, whichever X, Y or Z axis or rotary A axis is set to, once I press that button it'll move a centimetre, or you can have it move, I'll click through them, a millimetre at a time, step, or 0.1 or 0.01, which is even finer. But I find it just from initial setup, I set it at a centimetre. Then you go to your feed speed, which you can click on that and alter that to whatever feed speeds that you want. Click again, it'll go light blue, from dark blue to light blue, so that means it's set. So if you go down to your turn clockwise, it'll go onto your X axis. So if you click on the button there, that's minus is left, because it's obviously, and then turn on that one, that's Right, so we'll go turn it back there, and I'll just show you. Click on it. That's moved 10mm. Click it over to plus. That's moved 10mm back that way. So you can see what that does. No different to the y-axis. That's towards you. And that's away for you. You can hear the machine moving. It's pointless just showing it moving. And then you've got your Z probe, or your Z axis. So you click that. That'll go down 10mm or up 10mm. Then you go to your rotary, and if you look at the rotary, I'll show you the chuck. That's moving, looking at the chuck, the face of the chuck, it's moving clockwise. Call it down to minus, and it moves anti-clockwise. Okay. Then we go down to the probe. Now the probe is, if I hit that, it'll touch off. Once I've connected the probe up, it'll touch off and do the tool height. Home will send it home to front left corner, which is there. But I'll tell you a problem with that. Now your spindle, mine's not connected up with that, but you can put the spindle, alter the spindle there. So if you, mine's great because it's not connected, so you can alter the spindle speed, which is RPM. So mine won't do anything, it's not connected. So there you can alter the, down to spindle, you alter the spindle speed, and you just click on that the same and alter it from 10,000 down to whatever you want, depending what your spindle's connected up to and RPMs on it, but it will show on there. And then if you click the lock, now if I if I press the emergency stop button, which I will press, see alarms. Now what you would normally do is, it's in idle, so it's not in alarm, but if that shows at the bottom there where my finger is, it says alarm in red, then it's because you've triggered one of the limit switches or something else. Then all you do is click down to your lock, press it, and it will take it off of alarm, and you're back to square one. That just takes you back. And now we go down to the start your project. Right, this opens another page, or another screen. This is where, if you're using the 4th axis, you'd there's instructions for it, and it's a bit complicated unless you've actually got a, well, it's not complicated, it's a little bit easier to have something in the chuck and then to touch it off, of which I will be doing a video on it to show it working. But this is where you would put your coordinates in, and you'd set it and 0 X, Y or Z, or your A axis, you'd 0 it. So, and then you go down to your file choice, and you click on your file. There's no file choice because I haven't got anything, so, and that's where you'd set the job going. Once it's important, it'll show you its progress there. So once you've got your I have no file in there, which will be on the little small SD card. You pick the file up, you click on it, and then you would operate the file, and then you have a progress, which is 0 at the moment because of nothing in, and it would tell you your progress. I'll go back out of it. Now this is what one of the things that I would like to mention to everybody that gets this 4th axis. Be aware, very much aware. If you've got it bolted down like I have, just let me move the booklet. If you've got it bolted down like me, mine's about 3 to 4 inch away from the thumb, parallel, perfectly parallel to the x-axis. But if you've got it bolted down like that, and it shows you in the book having it slightly in the middle, but it doesn't matter, you can still work it from here. It's still working within the parameters of the CNC machine. Be very careful. You press that home button, that z-axis will move to the top to its limit switch. That will move directly across here. Be aware, that will hit that, and you'll have an almighty crash. I haven't done it, but I was checking to see what happens when you press that home. Now you can press that home switch fine if you're not using the A-axis, because it's just like using the normal 3, you know, XYZ axis CNC. When you add that I'm afraid is higher than that, so be very, very careful not to press that home. But what you can do, which does clear it, is you've got 4 bolts, 1, 2 and 2 at the other side. If you undo that, them 2 and the other 2 at the other side, you can then move your z-axis frame up to that hole. You put it in that one, it then clears it. So be aware that when using this, I'm not saying you can't use it in that position, but don't make the mistakes of putting it to home, because that will hit that, and there's no winners then. Something will trip out. So there should be something in the instruction book to tell you that don't send it to home when you've got that connected. As I say, I sent it to home and I stopped it within 2 millimeters of that. It would have hit it. So the thing to do is, if you're using that, it's not a big job, is just to lift that up and put it into that hole, and then you've got a little bit more room for manoeuvre, because you've got it hits it by about 5 mil thereabouts. So the best thing to do, you'll have enough clearance then once you move that up, that clearance there, and it's designed to be moved up and down. Once you've moved it, you'll have the distance of about 30 mil. Still be aware of your chuck protruding and your cutter. So it's all safety tips. But as I say, I haven't used it yet. I will be using it. Right, what I've done is I've done a little bit of an experiment. I've lifted the z-axis frame up to the next set of holes. It's given me about 50 mil clearance, and you can press that home quite safely now. So I'm just going to jog it over to, I'll move the moving the y-axis back, and then I'll move the across. Just wanting to see what sort of working height I have. That's about centre, probably a little bit. That's it. Move the axis down. See how far it goes down before it'll limit switch, and I'll show you that. Right, that's at its maximum now, and you can see there that there's clearance from there. As I say, the only problem with that is, even with this spindle in, and it's quite a lengthy spindle, is that if you was doing anything as a normal CNC machine, and you wanted to go a bit deeper, you're restricted because that's the bottomed out, and you're about 15 mil, 20 mil short of the bed. So you would have to put spaces in or move your Z-axis frame down. And I'll go back to showing you this. See, now that's alarmed out. That's alarmed out because the Z-axis has bottomed out on the limit switch. So all you do is go back down to lock there and press it, and it'll clear it. And you can go back to your Z probe, Z axis, and move it up. There you go. So yeah, and it'll give you everything you want if you're using the 4th axis. Just remember that now if I send that to home now, and press that, that should go up okay, safely. See what I mean? Before it would have hit that. There, yeah, that's home now. So it does clear, and you can safely move it to home. So it's just a thing to remember if you're going to be I mean, you won't be using this all the time, so the 4th axis, so it literally took me 5 minutes to change it. Four of these, 1, 2, 3, 4 Allen key. Just make sure your Z-axis is down so you can get to the nuts, and then you might have to move it again in order to put the new ones back in, and just put them in, and its job's done. As I say, that is the only problem, is depending on how far your cutter comes out, or the height of your cutter, is if you're going to use it as a CNC machine, leaving it in that position. You could, I could on this move the actual motor down 20 mil, and it'll do it, but it's neither in nor there. I think it's just an important thing to remember is no home on the offline controller when the Z frame is in the lowest position. You will hit that, no mistake, you will hit it, and there should be something mentioned about that. But anyway, that we're back round. As I say, this is just a short video. It's just to show the functionality of the offline controller and its functions that you can do with it. And you know, on first appearance and the use of it, it does do what it's supposed to do. It moves everything, and you can set up a job with it, which is, you know, if you don't want to connect it to a PC, and I don't use my large CNC with connected to a PC. I do the design software, convert it for the G code, pop it on a memory stick, put it onto the DSP controller, which is like this really, and the machine runs the program. And it'd be interesting to see if this does the same. Yes, I'd probably still connect it up to the software, the candle software, if I were using it as a normal CNC. But obviously using it with the 4th axis, it needs a careful watch, so to speak, over it when you're first using it. As I say, I found a safety issue with the Z-axis frame hitting the chuck mount. Now that should be the instructions to tell you that do not press that home switch, because that will hit it. I pressed it to see what it would do, and I stopped it about 3mm away from that hitting that. What would have happened when it hit it, I have no idea. It wouldn't have been pretty. But as I say, there's nothing in the instructions, and you can alleviate that by lifting the gantry up, well, not the gantry but the Z-axis frame, and it gives you another 50mm height. But you must remember that you should be able to get the height still, even with the standard spindle in it, to actually perform your engraving or your whatever you're doing with the 4th axis. You should get enough Z height depth. So but that's the thing to remember. But there should be something in the instructions about this. As I say, you'll press that and walk away just thinking it's going to go to home. Something's going to give. So, and as I say, I've lifted it up and it comes across fine. The cutter clears so far. You've still got to be careful which position that it does home out, so Z-axis. So in theory, you whatever cutter you're using should clear. But check it first. Be prepared your first time. But all I can say is at the moment that the offline controller seems a good piece of kit. We'll see what the functionality is when I run a program, and I'll see what it's like on just doing something on as a basic CNC machine. Because if it works fine, that's what I'll use. I won't bother connecting up to a PC. I'll use the offline controller and see if it's stable. So as I say, we're on a quick video, just highlight some points with it, and especially the safety issue. Touch off with probe works fine. I've no issues with that. Just the Z frame hitting the 4th axis chuck mount, so be aware. Well, I hope you found the offline controller and what I've done to lift the Z axis up interesting. It was only a basic introduction to the 4th axis for this machine, and as I said in the videos, it is quite well made. There's no doubt about that. Whether it's worth the money, because there are limitations to it, the diameter you can use. One chap asked me last night, could I, what sort of diameter can you turn on it? Well, it says it's 22mm, and is it only round stock? Well, I reckon you could do square stock in it, and do various things on each side. I don't know. That's in the software, designing it in the software, because it is a self-centering 4-jaw chuck, so it should go. It should take a square object. I don't know. It's all new to me. Is this? I've never used 4th axis on that before, so I've used it on the X tool, and it works fine. But that's a different story. That's engraving with a laser. This is actually cutting, so I'm learning just as much as everybody else. So what I would like to say is though, I hope you enjoyed the videos, and keep subscribing, keep liking. I do answer, as I say, I do answer everybody's comments. However harsh they are, I will answer you, because everybody's a right to their own views, and these are only my views. So, as I always say, until next time, you be careful out there, look after yourselves, and bye for now.